50 miles north of New York City, high above the Hudson River in Garrison, New York, is the home of Russell Wright, one of the most successful and influential designers of the 20th century. He helped create the concept of the industrial designer in America. Convinced that technology was changing the way people lived, Russell Wright promoted a new and more casual lifestyle. He said, "I believe with religious intensity that good design is for everyone." This consisted of affordable, mass-produced housewares made of spun aluminum, ceramics, glass, and plastics. He designed a prototype of melamine dinnerware and introduced unbreakable dinnerware called casual china.
One of the great publicity schemes was at the end of a presentation to a group of buyers at Bloomingdale's or Macy's, wherever, the Wrights would take Iroquois dishes and they would throw them onto a metal countertop, proving they didn't break.
I always felt bad that plastics didn't come along earlier, because the plastic that he finally did was one of the loveliest and most graceful.
In the 1940s, when a New York department store announced a shipment of his latest designs, lines of customers began growing so large that police had to be called, and 2 women were injured in the stampede to get to the counter. After being treated, the undaunted women again took their place in line.
We've seen ads that indicated, for instance, it would say, it's back, new supplies are in, because the demand was so great.
His American modern dinnerware, produced between 1939 and 1959, was the most popular dinnerware ever sold. Russell Wright was born in Lebanon, Ohio, to Quaker parents in 1904. After attending the Cincinnati Academy of Art, the Art Students League in New York City, and Princeton University, he worked in theater design for Norman Bel Geddes and Aline Bernstein. This love of the theater never left him. In 1927, he married Mary Small Einstein, who became his business manager and publicist. Thanks to Mary, a designer in her own right, Russell was the first to stamp his work with his own signature, making him America's first celebrity designer.
But Mary was a beautiful young woman, and she had lots of talent, but I felt that if she hadn't used them so much to work for her husband, she might herself have become quite a great artist.
I think they were extremely wonderful friends. Mary was much more sociable on a daily basis so that she could go out and sell. And Russell was sometimes shy. He was basically a homebody, which I think is why he ended up designing for the home. The dinnerware, tables, lamps, chairs. It was all about home life.
In 1939, during the Great Depression, Irving Richards formed a business partnership with Russell Wright, Raymore, which went on to become a resounding success.
I think Irving Richards was a marketing genius.
It was not easy to promote this line at the start because it was so unusual. Buyers were not used to that kind of design.
His designs were amusing and shocking and demonstrative of modernism.
He was really a very American designer, but it was something natural. I think it all started with his Quaker background and the honesty of design and the purity.
Russell described the creative process in designing his American modern dinnerware. "Of course, I first studied the materials to be used, deciding such things as that glass was best for cool liquids, pottery or plastic for the insulation of warm liquids, and so forth. My photographic studies proved that the colors of food were shown off best against black, and that a middle shade of gray was a modification of the black.
And everybody told me, don't do the gray. It would never sell. Do the colors. And I came back to Russell and he insisted that it was a basic part of the line. It became the most successful color in the line. It shows what buyers of department stores know.
Wright's enormously successful American Modern Furniture of 1935 was created for the R.H. Macy Company in New York City. Its straightforward, rounded geometric shapes and spare upholstery struck a chord with the American public.
Well, you know that Eleanor Roosevelt cut the ribbon at R.H. Macy's for the first presentation in New York.
In 1950, Russell and Mary wrote Guide to Easier Living. With native practicality, they went beyond the design of specific items to imagine an entirely new approach to arranging the house and its daily routine.
Even now, what in a suburban home is called the great room, which is this large open kitchen with an island cooktop area, and it opens into the dining room, the den, the living room, the dining room. All this is one big area. That's very much an idea that Russell and Mary Wright were promoting.
Their book suggested that the picnic was the prototype of all informal entertaining, and recommended that guests participate in some of the routine tasks at a dinner party. At the beginning of World War II, Russell and Mary had bought a woodland property in the Hudson Highlands just north of the Bear Mountain Bridge. It did not seem like a promising acquisition. The land had been devastated from logging, and it contained 3 abandoned quarries with industrial junk strewn about. On weekends, he and Mary walked the land, studying the great masses of granite and second-growth trees, while Russell made sketches of what would later become his most ambitious design. In 1952, Mary Wright, Russell's loyal and supportive partner, died, leaving him with their 2-year-old daughter, Annie. Years before ecology became part of the vernacular, Russell began creating his vision of intertwined human and natural worlds. He called his land Manitoga, from the Algonquin name for place of great spirit.
How many people could come through, see an abandoned granite quarry, of all things, and realize that there is a beauty here that could be reclaimed, and of course understand the natural beauty of the land around this as well.
A mountain stream was diverted, creating a beautiful waterfall that filled the old quarry. Boulders were artfully positioned and repositioned until the splashing water made the most pleasing sound to Russell. Working with the architect David Levitt, his house and studio emerged from the side of the quarry cliff. His daughter Annie named it Dragon Rock because she thought the cliff opposite the house looked like a dragon drinking from the pond.
He was a very difficult client, but the difficult ones are the ones that usually get the beautiful results,
I would like to create a shelter, he said, in which I can live comfortably and still enjoy the beauty of the land. But I do not want this house to dominate the land.
Wright was not only an industrial designer, but he was a set designer, and he was a sculptor.
Russell told his masons, "The curving of the cliff walls is so noble that we must be careful of everything we do in the use of stone. Man-made patterns of masonry would only suffer by comparison. Study the sculptural groupings of the natural, untouched boulders about the land. Study the large cut stone piles. They have been left by the quarry makers." He told his carpenters, large expanses of machine-made materials will dramatically set off the pieces of nature that will be brought in to be visually shocking. For instance, the use of the cedar tree as the main post supporting the ceiling of the whole large house, the pile of boulders in the living room, the boulders in Annie's sunken bathroom. With each season, he changed the colors of the drapes, the rugs, even cabinet doors to reflect the transitions of nature.
Well, it's ironic that on the one hand, Russell Wright influenced Math's taste. On the other hand, though, when he came to his own home, it's highly idiosyncratic and unusual. It's one of the most eccentric houses in America.
After spending a weekend there, I always felt like a mountain goat. I had rheumatism in all knees.
He overheard a woman who came to the house once and who said, "Oh, I would never live in a house like this." And he said, "Good." He said, "You should not live in a house like this. You should take the principles of the house and then develop your own idea."
Russell Wright worked for 35 years on Manitoga's 75 acres, pioneering new concepts of landscaping that are widespread today. Winding paths take visitors through beautiful woodland corridors and sudden vistas. No one would suspect that boulders have been carefully moved, trees thinned, plantings meticulously positioned. Russell was amused that so many people thought he had found the land that way.
You can very much see that stage set designer in the way Wright altered the landscape here, which had been completely devastated by the quarrying operation. This house is set so that when you're on the other side of the pond, you look across, and this is a stage. There's that flat area of water, and up behind the water is the stage, and this house and studio are set within the background. It's just fantastic.
Russell notes the interest of the path can be sustained if the walker finds a feature or a change as he turns a curve in the path. Vistas should be cut very slowly. I take photographs and then make tracings to decide on what trees to eliminate. Sometimes only a few limbs are cut to reveal a bit of the river.
He wants to keep it natural. Don't want to cut the big trees. And he likes to keep the moss. Like in Japan, maybe he have seen there. He wants to be like a teaching place.
But again, you sense that set designer in him making these small view corridors that force you to look in a particular direction. It's very interesting.
Again, towards the end of his life, everything that he had, he put into that place.
Good man, good heart.
Russell seemed to me like a gentle soul, yet I think there was a really stubborn streak in him. When he wanted something, he knew he wanted it, and he got it.
Now open to the public, visitors can explore how Wright joined design and nature as they visit the house and take several different paths through Manitoga's 75 acres, which connect to the Appalachian Trail, a favorite of hikers.
Walking through the paths, or even being in the house, was magical.
He loved the bones of the land. He loved the stone. He loved the shape. It was a very deep thing. Almost any visitor that comes just has to react to it.
Russell Wright's vision remains vital today. Manitoga is a center where respect for the environment and innovative design are cultivated and celebrated. This project is supported in part by an award from the National Endowment for the Arts.